Hello and warm welcome. Myself, Baljeet Singh Saluja, and I am a student of MBA first year at Institute of Management in my university. First of all, I would like to thanks Vidharth and NIBM for giving me this opportunity to represent myself and my institute in the second round of the event Decryptilla Finance, which basically means to decode finance. And I've chosen my topic for the presentation. The two public sector banks government would invest, would disinvest, and its aspects. So basically, it's about privatization of two public sector banks, which government announced in the recent announced annual budget, the first digital budget of it. So moving forward, government announced, finance minister announced two public to private, like two banks are going to be public to private. And recently, a list came out of four shortlisted banks, which had Bank of Maharashtra, Bank of India, Industrial Bank, and Central Bank of India. So moving ahead, this why issue, what are why the need to privatize with public sector undertaking banks? The major concern is the NPA on performing assets. The performance of the public sector bank has shown improvement over the last couple of years after a series of mergers and equity. Last year also a series of mergers and acquisition had occurred. So basically, high non-performing assets is the main concern, and the second is like to maintain these non-performing assets, government have to inject a lot of equity. So government is facing a lot of trouble. Like they have to inject, and after injecting a lot of equity, also like the public sector undertaking banks have not shown that improvement. So this is the need of the hour. So that's why government is moving forward with the privatization process. Moving ahead, the same question, a broader one. What is the need for privatization? Basically, government had already announced that it's a long-term project part, and this is the initial step that has been taken by the government. And the government original aim was to privatize four of them. The government is likely to go another two or three banks for in this investment in the next financial year. Then again, they would look forward at how this privatization process is working out. And looking at like this question, degrading public sector bank financial situation, like years of capital injections, and government has been trying a lot to improve the situation of the public sector banks. But again, there has been no change, and in the financial status of these banks. So again, government is thinking of like giving these public sector banks to the private sector would help a lot, as government has been trying hard to make the condition better. Moving on to our last slide, there's a short analysis of data, like on the basis of deposit, like credit and deposit growth. So looking forward to this slide, public sector banks versus other banks, like you can see in each and every 2 quarters, March 19, September 19, and again March 20 and September 2020. So basically, the private sector has been showing a good response and in comparison to public sector, and there's a slight there's very less growth in public sector bank in terms of deposit, great and deposits. So basically, private sector banks are doing better. This is a question, and yes, they are doing better. As mentioned in this slide, market share has been rising. The market share of loans by private banks rose from 21.26% in 20 to 36% in 2020. So there's a approximately 15% growth in the last 5 years. So government, private bank are doing good. Better services and products, obviously. Private sector banks offers better services and products. After the RBI had permitted more private banks since 1990s, they have been doing great. And looking the market capitalization of HDFC Bank, established in 1994, is 8.8 lakh crore. On other hand, SBI commands just 3.5 lakh crore. So basically, there's a big gap between these two public and private players. So looking ahead, like the way ahead, there's a need to incorporate the recommendations laid down by PJ Nayak, and this would like help the government. Like this would, though retaining government ownership, this would allow public sector banks to like work properly and more with more freedom. Like recommendation says to make uh, to PSB should turn into a company like life insurance corporation, and they should work at their own freedom, like less government interventions in the banks. Basically, the way ahead is the privatization, and I think, like in my opinion, it's a good decision by the government, and we would look forward to what happens. And thank you so much for spending your time for this presentation.